The Sith Lord Darth Plagueis was a master of the scientific properties of the Force, believing that the power that governed the universe could not only be explained by science, but with its application, the Force could also be controlled entirely. While Plagueis did make significant progress with this theory, he was not the source of its origin. The Sith Lord's own master years before him focused his efforts on controlling the Force, and became obsessed with using it to see into the future, just as his apprentice later would become obsessed with death and preventing his own. This Sith Lord's name was Darth Tenebrous, and amongst all his scientific studies concerning the dark side of the Force, he believed he had discovered a method to rid the entirety of the Jedi Order from their connection to the Force, causing the Order to easily be defeated by the Sith. As Tenebrous studied, he formulated the opinion the Force was not a greater power, but simply a source of energy that allowed the galaxy to function, and based off of this belief, he attempted to control it just as one would control regular energy. The biggest step Tenebrous made was attempting to make a virus that would drain an individual's Force potential through the midichlorians, in a sense, removing them completely from the Force. By doing this, a person would no longer be able to tap into and use the Force in any regard. Tenebrous had plans to release this virus within the Jedi Temple and allow it to spread until the Order became powerless to the dark side and the Sith. Tenebrous funded this expensive venture by amassing a significant fortune by designing luxurious starships across the galaxy, as only the top of the elite class could purchase a ship made by his hand. But the benefits of designing starships were not purely financial. Tenebrous took the teachings of the Sith Lord Darth Bane to heart, becoming an influential member in the galaxy, not solely by being a Lord of the Sith, but by other means that would allow him to join the inner circles of the galaxy's wealthiest, but not always most cunning individuals. During this time, Tenebrous took his studies over the scientific aspects of the dark side to its peak, using the Force to cause a union between two individuals that he believed would breed a being extremely powerful in the Force, and a being he would eventually claim as his apprentice. The product of this union would be the Sith Lord we know as Darth Plagueis. Tenebrous also utilized the spies the Sith before him had amassed over the decades, but moved them into more important positions within the galaxy to ensure when the time came, the Sith would have a smooth rise to power. With all the knowledge and power Tenebrous developed, however, a crippling weakness formed as well, as he believed he was untouchable, and while he did believe his reign would end, he looked into the future and interpreted that Plagueis was not the Sith Lord to overthrow him. Seeing this, Tenebrous became disgusted and frustrated with Plagueis, constantly mocking him and believing him to be an inferior Sith Lord. Tenebrous had seen the future and discovered a being he believed would be so powerful in the dark side they could rule indefinitely if they so desired. Tenebrous also analyzed his discovery mathematically, again concluding this all-powerful Darksider was not only possible but one day probable. Unfortunately for the Sith Lord, however, his plans would begin to crumble as the virus he had developed proved a complete failure, and the Sith was forced to look at other means to destroy the Jedi. Things would only prove worse for the Sith Master, as on the planet of Baldemnik, his Sith apprentice utilized an explosion to gravely injure Tenebrous. As the last bit of life left the Dark Lord, for the first time, he held a sense of pride for Plagueis, as he had done what he never thought possible, overthrow his master. But Tenebrous's pride quickly turned to anger, as he saw Plagueis had also endangered his own life, and thus the Sith Order, in order to destroy his master. As Tenebrous slowly died, he put his final plan into motion, revealing he himself had begun intense studies with the midichlorians and immortality. Entering the body of Plagueis through the dark side and the midichlorians, he for a final time looked into the future, and saw his apprentice's own death. Believing the Sith would die out with Plagueis, Tenebrous fled his body, only to discover decades had passed, and he was permanently chained to his now ancient remains. So that was Darth Plagueis' Sith Master, Darth Tenebrous, and some of the key points in his life, as well as his plan to destroy the Jedi, and what he tried to do to achieve immortality. While Darth Tenebrous is certainly not one of the most powerful Sith Lords who have ever lived, he is definitely one of the most intelligent, looking into the future and getting a lot of things correct. But in the end, he also suffered the same fate of many Sith before him, with his obsession eventually corrupting him fully and resulting in his death. His advancements for the Sith Order should be noted, however, as he in large part moved the pieces around that would ultimately result in Palpatine becoming the Emperor. So how do you feel about Darth Tenebrous? Is he one of your favorite Sith Lords, and had you heard of him before this video? If you enjoyed the video and feel it deserves it, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like, as it helps the channel out a great deal. If you would like to speak to me directly and ask questions, my Twitter is @StupendousWave, or you could always leave a comment, as I do read them all. If you haven't already, maybe consider subscribing to ensure you stay up to date with everything Star Wars related, from lore to news. Anyway, thanks again so much for watching, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.